Hantavirus. It is one of the most dangerous strains of hantavirus known to science. It was first identified in the late 1990s in the Andes mountain regions of Chile and Argentina, which is where it gets its name. What makes this strain uniquely alarming is that it is the only hantavirus ever documented to spread directly from one person to another. Most hantaviruses require contact with infected rodents to pass to humans, but Andes virus broke that rule. It causes a severe condition known as Hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, which attacks the lungs and can kill within days. The 2026 cruise ship outbreak on the MV Hondius brought this strain to global attention when it spread among passengers across multiple countries. Nombre Virus. It was first identified in 1993 in the Four Corners region of the United States, an area where the borders of New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado, and Utah meet. The name means without a name in Spanish, given because scientists initially struggled to classify it. It is carried primarily by the deer mouse, one of the most common rodents in North America. Nombre Virus does not spread between humans, but inhaling dust contaminated with infected rodent droppings, urine, or saliva is enough to cause infection. It remains responsible for the majority of hantavirus cases, recorded in the United States, and carries a fatality rate of around 38% in severe cases. Seoul Virus. Unlike most hantavirus strains, which are confined to specific regions, Seoul Virus has spread across the entire world. This is because its primary carrier is the common brown rat, also known as the Norway rat, which has traveled with human civilization to every continent. Seoul Virus was first identified in South Korea in the 1970s and has since been found in wild rats and pet rats across North America, Europe, Asia, and beyond. It causes hemorrhagic fever with renal syndrome, a condition that damages the kidneys rather than the lungs. While its fatality rate is relatively low compared to other strains, its global reach makes it one of the most widespread hantavirus threats in existence. Hantaan Virus. This is the strain that first put hantaviruses on the scientific map. It was identified in the 1970s near the Hantaan River in South Korea, largely because of a mysterious illness that had been affecting soldiers in the Korean War decades earlier. The striped field mouse is its primary carrier, and the virus is most common across rural parts of China, Korea, and Russia. Hantaan virus causes a severe form of hemorrhagic fever with renal syndrome and was responsible for thousands of cases annually in Asia before it was even properly understood. It remains one of the most studied hantavirus strains in the world. Puumala Virus. This strain is the dominant hantavirus across Europe and is far less deadly than its American counterparts. It is carried by the bank vole, a small rodent found throughout Scandinavia, Russia, and Central Europe. Puumala virus causes a milder form of hemorrhagic fever with renal syndrome, locally known in Scandinavia as nephropathia epidemica. Patients typically experience fever, headache, and kidney inflammation, but the fatality rate is below 1% in most cases. Outbreaks tend to spike in years when bank vole populations boom, which happens naturally in cycles tied to forest seed production. Dobrava Virus. It is a European hantavirus strain first identified in the village of Dobrava in Slovenia in the early 1990s. It is carried by the yellow-necked mouse and is found primarily across the Balkans and parts of Eastern Europe. Dobrava virus is significantly more dangerous than Puumala virus and causes a more severe form of hemorrhagic fever with renal syndrome with a fatality rate that can reach around 12% in some cases. Different genetic variants of this virus exist across the region, and they vary in how severely they affect the human body, making it one of the more complex hantavirus strains studied in Europe. Bayou Virus. This strain was first identified in Louisiana in the early 1990s and is associated with the rice rat found across the southeastern United States and the Gulf Coast region. Bayou Virus is one of the lesser-known North American hantaviruses, but is capable of causing Hantavirus pulmonary syndrome similar to Nombre Virus. Cases are rare, but the virus has been confirmed in humans. Its presence in a densely vegetated and humid environment like the Gulf Coast wetlands means exposure. Risk is tied closely to outdoor activity in those specific ecosystems. Black Creek Canal Virus. It was identified in Florida in the 1990s and is carried by the cotton rat, a rodent common across the southeastern United States and Latin America. Black Creek Canal virus can cause Hantavirus, pulmonary syndrome, and was named after the area in Miami-Dade County where the first confirmed human case was investigated. Like other New World hantaviruses, it does not spread between humans. Its discovery helped researchers understand that hantavirus strains were far more geographically diverse across the Americas than previously thought. Tula Virus. This is a European strain carried by the common vole and found primarily across Central and Eastern Europe, including Russia, Germany, and the Czech Republic. Tula virus is considered low pathogenicity, meaning it rarely causes serious illness in humans, and confirmed human cases have been extremely limited. However, it is actively studied by researchers because its presence in widely distributed rodent populations gives it the potential to evolve. Scientists monitor it as part of broader hantavirus surveillance programs across Europe. Thottapalayam Virus. It stands apart from all other hantaviruses because it is carried not by rodents but by shrews, small insect-eating mammals that are among the oldest living mammal species on Earth. First isolated in India in 1964 from the Asian house shrew. Thottapalayam virus was for decades considered a scientific curiosity with no known impact on humans. Its discovery significantly expanded scientific understanding of how hantaviruses evolved and spread across different animal families. Researchers now know that hantaviruses exist in a much wider range of small mammals than originally believed, including moles and bats, pointing to an ancient and complex evolutionary history that is still being uncovered today.